Hello, and welcome to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. I'm Laurel Boivin, a life and leadership coach, a speaker, and a podcaster. And today I'm your host on this episode of Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. You'll find all of my contact information and information about my coaching practice in the show notes. If you're new here, welcome. This podcast is all about creating a fulfilling, connected, and joy-filled life through the power of inner work. Because the truth is, we create our lives from the inside out. And when we do the beautiful work, the inner work, we can create the beautiful life that mirrors our dreams and desires. For those of you who have been on this journey with us, you also know my podcast partner, my dear friend and co-host, Laurel Holland. Laurel is also a life coach. She's an author and a guiding light in the world of inner transformation. While she's not with me today, she's here in spirit, and she'll be joining us again in a couple of weeks for another fun and insightful conversation. So stay tuned. But today, it's just you and me, and we're talking about something really important. We're talking about bringing inner work to life, the integration and embodiment of inner work. Now, if you've listened to the last few weeks, you would have heard us talking about inner work, where we've introduced some practices, inner work practices. We've introduced a guest who has done the inner work and changed his life dramatically through inner work. If you've not listened to those episodes yet, I really encourage you to go back and listen. We've been talking about inner work on the podcast this is our 4th season. So Laurel and I every week we bring an episode about inner work, but something feels different in the last month where our conversations have really been about deepening our inner work, about living the inner work. So how can we take all that powerful inner work that we do, the awareness, the self-discovery, the breakthroughs, the healing, and how can we bring it all into our day-to-day lives? Because insight alone isn't enough. We may have discovered new tools or tricks or practices. We might have learned new things about doing the inner work, but learning and insight and hearing about the inner work isn't enough. In order to create real change in our lives, we have to integrate inner work. We have to embody our inner work. So let's dive in and explore how we can make the changes in our lives that we want to together. So at the foundation of this inner work and co-creation is a core belief that when we are doing inner work, we show up in the world differently. Inner work changes us. It changes our perspective, our way of being. It changes our reaction and our response to other people and external circumstances that we encounter in life. Life is messy. It's not easy. But when we're doing our inner work, we change the way that we think about things. Our perspective changes. And when the way we think changes, when our perspective changes, our emotions, our feelings change. The feelings that are caused and created from our thoughts really do drive our choices, our day-to-day choices, the choices we make each and every day as we move through the world change when we're doing our inner work, because again, the inner work changes our perception, our way of being, our way of thinking, and our way of feeling. That's why inner work is so powerful. It helps us shift our old beliefs, align our thoughts and our emotions, and open up to a whole new world of possibility. So even when we're doing the inner work, sometimes we get stuck. I'm not saying that inner work makes life easy or that you never get stuck in a pattern or pulled back into an old way of being. Sometimes we get stuck. But when we get stuck, we gain insight into what is keeping us stuck. We can see the patterns and the old behaviors. We can realize maybe a great one I think about often is boundaries. There are situations that I'm in where it occurs to me, I probably need a stronger boundary in this relationship. But I can think about that. I can know that I need better boundaries or a stronger boundary. But nothing changes if I don't take action, if I don't set the boundary and act and enforce the boundary. We also can learn through inner work to trust ourselves more. But that doesn't mean that we never second guess ourselves or we never question some of our behavior. And why do these things still, these little, sticky patches along our inner work journey, why do they still happen? Well, because change, transformational change, doesn't happen just by thinking about it. We have to live the change. We have to experience the transformation, the inner work. We have to embody the inner work. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how can we embody it? How can we integrate inner work, right? And create this bridge between the inner work that we're learning from and the actual living into the inner work. And so how do we do this? How do we bring our inner work to life? Well, the first step really is integration, and it's taking what we've learned and actually applying it in real time. So we have to apply inner work to our daily lives. I have 3 ways that I'm going to share with you to start integrating inner work into your daily life. The first one is by taking micro actions, tiny, small steps forward, one choice at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, maybe even 1 minute at a time. Because transformational change happens in small, intentional choices. So ask yourself, what is one teeny tiny decision? What is one very small step you can make today that aligns with your growth, the growth that you are stepping into, that aligns with your new way of being? The second way to start integrating inner work in your life is through your surroundings. Now, I'm going to refer to it as environmental or situational alignment. How can you align your environment, your surroundings, your situations with your inner work? How can you create an environment that encourages you to live your inner work? This might have to do with the space that you live in or work in. It might have to do with the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Does your environment, your space, and the people around you in your life, do they support your new way of being? Do they support you fully in who you are becoming? The third way to integrate inner work into your life is through somatic practices. Now, I mentioned we cannot bring on real lasting change in our head. We have to embody it. This is where the somatic practices come in, getting out of your head and into your body. So our nervous system holds on to old patterns because they've kept us safe in the past. Our old way of being was needed at some point in our life, and it worked well. But now we don't need that old pattern anymore. We want to change it. We want to grow from it. Maybe we've outgrown it, but it's a habit. So how can you get into your body, calm your nervous system so that it lets go of its grip on these old patterns and moves into a new way of being? So some of the ways are the breath work that we talk about often, movement, grounding exercises, spending time in nature, and even meditation can help you get out of your head and into your body. And then after we begin to integrate, how can we fully integrate so that we can embody the inner work and it becomes second nature? So integration, again, is a practice, but the embodiment is about being. Embodiment is when we no longer have to think about the change that we are making, that change, that new way of being becomes second nature. It's just who we are. So there are 3 key elements I want to share with you about embodiment and how to embody inner work. And the first one is presence. noticing when your old habits creep up, when they creep in. Just begin to notice. Have a sense of presence. Be present. Be mindful so that you notice. Are you acting on autopilot? Are you letting an old habit rule the day? And when you notice the old habit, the autopilot, can you consciously, deliberately, intentionally choose to do something differently, to do the thing differently, to show up and be different? The second key element is authenticity. And I know authenticity is a buzzword, but when we are trying to embody a new way of being, our authenticity, and when we are not being authentic, really is a very good clue. It's a good messenger to help us get back on track. So, can you show up as your true self, even when it's uncomfortable? Can you show up in this new way of being because it is what you at your core wants for your life? Can you act in a new way, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you're afraid of someone's judgment or what someone might think of you? The third key element is resilience, so that you can hold yourself to the commitment of being different, of making the change, of becoming someone that does things differently, holding your alignment with the life that you want, with the way of being that you are trying to bring into your life, even when life tests you. Those are the three key elements for embodiment: presence, authenticity, and resilience. And the more that we embody our inner work, the more effortless it becomes. Over time, we don't even have to force the change. It simply is. We don't have to try to be different. We are different over time. So before we close out this episode, I want to invite you to reflect. Just a couple questions for you to consider. Where in your life are you still holding back from fully integrating your inner work? And what is one small step you can take today to embody your inner work more fully? If you're ready to take your inner work deeper, I'd love to support you. As a life and leadership coach, I work with people just like you who are ready to step into their inner work, to step into a new way of being with greater confidence, clarity, and fulfillment. I work with people who want to deepen their inner work and become leaders of their life, become the leaders that they were meant to be. So if you're looking for guidance in your own transformation, in the changes you are making and want to bring to your life, I invite you to connect with me. You'll find my email and my website in the show notes. So that's it for this week: integration and embodiment of inner work. I can't wait to hear your journey, your story about how you are integrating your inner work into your daily life and what changes are coming because of that. So I'll be back next week for another inspiring conversation. Until next time, keep doing this inner work. Keep creating your beautiful life by integrating and embodying your inner work. Keep becoming all that you were born to be. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.